This is the greatest thrill of my life! Woo!
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and it looks like Cyberpunk 2077 developers or employees at CD Projekt Red are pushing back against their corporate commanders, and I'm happy to see it. There's been several insiders that have now leaked some conversations that have been had at an all hands on deck meeting. And quite frankly, I'm really proud of the developers, the individual developers who have stood up and made their pieces heard, themselves heard. And this on the heels of brand new information now that Microsoft has now come out. This is just devastating PR to have, after PlayStation tweeted it out, now to have Xbox tweet out Cyberpunk 2077 to ensure that every player can get the experience they expect on Xbox. We will be expanding our existing refund policy to offer full refunds to anyone who purchased Cyberpunk 2077 digitally from the Microsoft Store until further notice. Now, this is, I will say, this is pretty brutal for people that bought physical copies. I'm hoping that something can be done for them. They say, while we know the developers at CD Projekt Red have worked hard to ship Cyberpunk 2077 in extremely challenging circumstances, we also realize that some players have been unhappy with the current experience on older consoles. To date, we have granted refunds to vast majority of customers who have requested one. To request an Xbox refund for Cyberpunk 2077, please follow the steps listed. And really, people, you got to say, hey, Sony and Microsoft actually stepping in here and protecting their customers. And, ultimately, not everyone will get a refund who wants one, but this is still a good move. I've started helping console folks have the same experience and invited one console friend for Cyberpunk 2077 PC experience. Brought some people over to play on their PC. Now, in this new article on Game Informer, Cyberpunk 2077 team responds to CDPR leadership following chaotic launch. The Cyberpunk 2077 launch has been one of the most anticipated launches in recent years, making most post-release hardships all the more shocking. From a mismarketing to veiled review restrictions, even game-breaking bugs, to the extent where many felt last-gen version of the open-world game was something else entirely. It's been a tumultuous week for the Polish company, following a public conference call that revealed more information how little care went into pre-launch prep, especially for last-gen versions. The atmosphere surrounding this game has been rife with tension, and it looks the same way internally as well. In a recent report from Bloomberg, an internal video meeting took place Thursday, addressing an ongoing situation the same day Sony delisted the game from its platform entirely. It was during this meeting that a frustrated and angry staff went directly to the board following another apology from management, and according to the report, many of the staff were met with vague responses. It was during this meeting that they aired frustrations and questions with the board and upper management. It was also during this time that the management clarified Sony refunds, saying that after Sony refund chaos, they have reached a decision with the company. Shortly after that, Sony delisted the game, which CDPR said was a mutual decision. I don't believe that. As the meeting continued, the staff inquired about additional hours putting in leading to launch with the directors and what the next step is, to which directors themselves responded with assurances that they are going to improve production practices, though they reportedly did not specify how. Another confrontation centered around one developer asking the board in question why they told the public that Cyberpunk 2077 was, quote, complete and playable, especially now that we see the current state of the game and the nuance of the earlier company call. The board responded saying that they will take responsibility for misleading promise, a promise that has been cited numerous times over the past week. An additional staff member reportedly went for the jugular when asking if the board thought it was all if it was at all hypocritical when looking at the entire premise of Cyberpunk 2077 being anti-corporation and abuse when looking at the current situation. Bloomberg doesn't say the response, but they note it was vague and non-committal. This person goes on to say, as I've said on my own social media, many others have stated industry-wide, many of the issues with the launch are a direct result of mismanagement on an executive level, setting unrealistic deadlines, making false promises, attempting to hide unfinished aspects of the game. Post-launch, it's obvious to see that a lot of corners were cut, but those cut corners are usually used not out of laziness, but out of desperation to hit the board of directors' inspired deadline pace. A game as hedonistic as this didn't have to be a basic epilepsy warning at the beginning, which is a common practice with release, and was only added after it went public about a specific design aspect that is dangerous to both epileptics and non-epileptics. This isn't the first studio to have mismanagement, but the many layers as why the launch went so wrong dives into several deeper issues. It's interesting. The Bloomberg report by old Jason Schreier, Cyberpunk game maker faces hostile staff after failed launch. Frustrated and angry staff fired questions at the board during an internal video meeting Thursday that opened with management apologizing for Cyberpunk 2077's disastrous launch. According to two people who were present, it was fitting atmosphere for a company whose slogan plastered on posters all over the Warsaw offices, "We are rebels." Developers asked blunt questions about the company's reputation, the game's unrealistic deadlines, and the relentless overtime in the months and years leading up to the game's December 10th launch. It took place before Sony's shocking announcement that it was pulling Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store and will offer full refunds. A CD Projekt Red spokesperson said the company wouldn't comment on the internal meeting discussions. Well, Schreier has his connections. One employee asked why in January they said it was complete and playable when that wasn't true, to which the board answered that it would take responsibility. This is not great. Not great. And their stock, you see here, players have found the game full of bugs, particularly on the last gen, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, sending CD Projekt Rare plummeting and leading fans and critics to describe Cyberpunk 2077 as unfinished. CD Projekt's Red's stock fell 12% in Warsaw Friday, punctuating a steady decline this month that has wiped out gains for the entire year. Down 14% right now. If we go year to date, we're right back where we started. $21.99. It had peaked at $30 a share, and now it's at $18 a share. And I suspect it'll continue to go lower. I genuinely do. And it's not like you can just run out and fix this. You can't just bring everyone back to work over Christmas and fix all the innumerable issues. And to be honest, I'm not a big fan. If you look at the way they responded here, I don't like this. Oh, they just did update. Hold on. So there's a line here that I didn't love. Following a discussion with PlayStation, decision was made to temporarily suspend digital stores. All purchased digital and physical copies will continue to receive support, and updates will continue to improve our experience. According to our knowledge, according to our knowledge, starting today, everyone who is not willing to wait for updates and wants to, why'd you write not willing to wait? I don't, maybe the person that writes this, English isn't their first language, but that comes off like, oh, you're being impatient with us. And you see it now. We just started reaching out to people who sent us a message with confirmation of receipt. We sent these emails out in waves, so don't worry if you don't get an answer immediately. At the same time, we'd like you to know that our intention is for every owner of a physical copy or a digital copy bought at retail who has valid proof of a purchase will receive a refund. 100% of people who ask will get a refund. We will do this out of our own pocket if necessary. If you're unable to obtain a refund for the game from the store where you bought it, please contact us until December 21st. This is a one-time initiative. I mean, that's good. That's good to see. But I look, this is good. This is good to see for CD Projekt Red. Now, you could argue that they really didn't have an option, and you'd be right. But I'm not sure that Electronic Arts would go out of their way to make sure everyone got a refund either. I'm not sure that Bethesda would go out of their way to make sure everyone got a refund either. So kudos CD Projekt Red. Didn't have to be this way. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.